Okay folks, today I'm going to show you how to make a foam mud plug for the inner rim. So we've got here is a beadlock wheel. On the outside of the rim there's actually a plastic mud plug that comes with it. I don't have it here handy, but that plugs in here. What's not though is one that goes inside, so you can still get mud on the inside of your rim. And so what we're going to do today is make a foam one here. So this one here opens up, you slide it over your axle, you push it on the inside of your rim. It'll essentially just go right in here. It just pushes in here. A little bit fancier than that. That's essentially what it will look like. I don't got no high-tech way of doing this. So I went to Speedway Motors. I could not find one of these anywhere for these bikes. So I'm sure there's some somewhere. I couldn't find one. If you can find some, I'd probably buy it. But what I got here is a one from Speedway Motors. This is for a 15-inch rim. It's for a dirt car. They simply, if you had a 15-inch rim, this would slide in and be done. But you know, I've got a 9-inch rim. So what I like about these is they're designed for mud. They're also about 5 inches thick. So it's nice, good, and thick, so they fit in the rim just about perfectly. But since they're too big here, what we got to do is cut it down. So it needs to get down to about this side. And all I'm doing is just eyeballing this. I don't have anything perfect on it. What I'm going to do here first is I'm going to take my tape measure here. This is my old rim. I happen to have an old rim handy. So I'm going to stick it down on top of this thing here. Heck. Like I've already lost my pen somewhere. But I'm just basically going to center this thing around the side here as best I could. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Yeah, so it's just kind of going around here. It's not perfect because I'm going to have to cut it down. And that's it. So from this point here, I figure out what the heck I did with my pen. Alright, well, I've got a different pin here. I'm basically going to do is just go right around this and just draw a circle. If you got a marker, that would be better. I don't have one. But I'm going to go around a couple of times on this thing. It'll actually cut into the foam. If you can kind of see that a little bit there, you can kind of see where it's cut in. Hopefully you can see a little bit. Then I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing on this side. To get it lined up. It's good to have the measurements on both sides. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing this thing here. It's not have to be exactly perfect. Pretty good. Mark it around here a couple of times. Okay, now that I've got that centered, one last thing I'm going to do here is just kind of try to find the center of this thing. I'm just going to kind of measure about the center. It's 15 inches, so this one's about 7.5. So I'm just going to kind of make a mark about where that is. Just kind of Alright, so that kind of gives my center of the rim. So at this point here, I'm going to try cutting it. Now, if you've got an electric knife works good, like something you might want to cut some turkey with. A serrated knife works pretty good if you got a long one. This flat one here with no serrades works good as well for doing some fine adjustment. Also, a hacksaw blade works really good if you take it off the blade. And so we're going to go ahead and I think I'm going to go ahead and try using this one right here. But you just want to cut in, and you want to kind of cut around till you get about to your marks, and then check it. And that's the critical thing. You can always cut more off this thing, but you know, you can't put stuff back on. So start big, push it in there, trim off a little bit more till you get to where you want it, and that's it. It's pretty simple to do. So we're going to go ahead and just try cutting into this thing here. Again, it goes pretty easy. You want to let the knife do the cutting, and you know, not try forcing it, because it just makes a mess. And you know, if you've got something like a hot knife or a upholstery cutter, you know, you can actually do this and probably make it look really good. But again, no one's going to see this thing outside of you guys on the YouTube and me. So if anyone gets down to that far and wants to stick their head that far under my bike and look at it, that'll probably be the least of my worries. So I'm just going to go around here, again, make a quick cut. Okay, so I've got my first cut. You can kind of see here on the back, knife wasn't quite going through there, so it's kind of like a Reese's peanut butter cup shape. Get some of this stuff off here. So let me reposition. We'll kind of fine tune this a little bit. All right, so I've kind of got my cutout. Again, as you can see, it's kind of beveled a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to take this smooth knife now and just kind of go around and cut off a little bit more, especially on that back side. Kind of see here, I still got some cutting to do on that line. Trick is just to take your time with this thing. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. What I want to do here is just periodically test in my wheel. Back this up just a little bit here so you can see a little bit. Just want to check it. This is still way too tight. So I'm going to go ahead here and just keep on just trimming it down. Now it just comes down to an eyeball. Okay, so we're going to keep trying this. See if we can just try sticking this in here now. It's just a matter of just keep testing it till you get it about where you like it. You can see there, kind of fits in. I think it's a little bit too tight. I'll go ahead and take off just a little bit more. Again, it's just kind of eyeballing this thing. You can see it's not the best shape in the world, but that's all right. Again, it's not perfect. I'll just take some stuff off as it kind of do what feels good here. Sometimes you gotta just trim off these edges a little bit so it doesn't cut flat on you. All right, so I'm kind of happy with this, I guess. It fits in there pretty good. What we got to do now though is cut a hole for the axle. So you want to do is just kind of cut down the center of this. Go nice, even slice. And then what I like to do here is I use my little tiny hacksaw blade. Again, I'm just eyeballing this thing here. Stick this in there. And I'm just gonna sit here and just cut a little circle. All right, let's see what that looks like. Hey, not too bad, not too bad. Obviously a little Frankenstein looking, but that's okay. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Alrighty, that's it. That's the whole thing there. So that's how you make it there. Go out there and put this on, show one of these on there and show what it does, and that'll be it. Pretty slick and easy. Obviously they're not the best job in the world, but it's something anyone can do. Alrighty. Out of my way. So I've got my plug here. You can put it on however you want to do it there. Essentially here, I'm just going to slide it over the axle. My jack is in the way. And then you just slide it in. And just, you want to make sure you tuck it up in behind your ring here. That's what helps hold it on. That's it. It's a heavy duty foam mud plug there. Let's see if we can get a better shot at that. Yeah. So that's it right there. Kind of just sits there. Should stay in there. But that's it. That's making a foam mud plug for the inner wheel, hopefully to keep the mud out of the inside of your tires. If you got bead locks, very cheap way to do it. You could probably find this foam at hobby stores as well. You don't want an open cell foam that sucks up water. You want like a closed cell. But that's it. You just experiment around. If you find some thick foam, they make some real like more heavier duty, that's more stiffer foam that might work as well. But that's it. Yeah, just as you find some of these, it's very easy again just to cut it in a circle, cut a hole in the middle of it, and you got self-made mud plugs there. So that's it. That's how to make a quick foam mud plug insert for the inner side of your bead lock wheel.